In order to understand haircutting, you must first understand lines, sections, angles, and elevation. Our learning objective for this topic will be to define lines, sections, angles, and elevations. We begin with lines. A line is a thin, continuous mark that is used as a guide. Lines can be straight or curved. Just as you use lines to draw stick figures or a block house, lines are also used to create the shapes formed in haircutting. Lines guide our eyes in various directions. Therefore, lines are directional. Lines can be horizontal, vertical, and diagonal. Horizontal lines direct the eyes from side to side and are parallel to the floor. Horizontal lines are used in haircutting to create and add weight. Vertical lines direct the eye up and down and are perpendicular to the floor. Vertical lines are used in haircutting to remove weight and to create graduation or layers in the design. Perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect to form a 90-degree angle. The space created between the two intersecting lines is called an angle. Diagonal lines can direct the eyes forward or backwards from a focal point, such as the face. They are used to create fullness and to blend long layers into shorter layers. Diagonal forward lines will direct the eye towards the face. These lines are also used to create beveled, stacked, or angled edges. Diagonal back lines will direct the eyes away from the face. Parallel lines are two lines that run the same direction and will never intersect. Angles are the space created when two lines intersect. Angles are measured in degrees, ranging from 0 up to 360. We use these angles, or degrees of angles, to calculate how and where to cut the hair in order to create the desired shape or effect for our haircut. In haircutting, we use angles from 0 to 180 degrees. Now that you understand what lines and angles are, let's look at how they apply to haircutting. Before we begin a haircut, we need to know where to start. We must learn to part or divide the hair at the scalp, so that we may learn how to control the hair. By drawing a line on the scalp with a comb, we can create a part, or parting. When we create several part lines on the scalp, we create sections, or working areas. By creating sections, we learn how to control the hair during the cutting process. There are several different methods for parting off working sections. Your instructor will demonstrate many of those techniques with you during your lab time. However, here are a few sectioning techniques you should be aware of. A horseshoe section is a section of hair determined by parting the hair between the recession and the parietal ridge, around the back of the head, below the crown, and ending at the opposite hairline between the recession and the parietal ridge. A pivoting section is a pie-shaped section that rotates from a centralized point. Generally, this sectioning technique is used in the apex and crown areas of the head. A profile section is a side view of one full half of the head. A part line divides the hair in half, from the center of the forehead to the center of the nape. A radial section is one that is taken by parting the hair from the apex down to 1/2 inch behind each ear, which separates the hair from the front to the back. Subsections are smaller divisions within a large section. We use subsections to maintain control of the hair while cutting. We have covered lines, angles, sections and subsections. It is now time to move on to elevation. However, before we do, I feel it is important for you to understand natural fall position first. The natural fall position is exactly as it sounds. It is the position in which your hair, or your client's hair, will fall into, hang, or lay naturally, after it has been tossed around. Take notice of how gravity works. As we move into elevation, it is important for you to understand that when we pick up the hair, in order to cut it, it will not remain lifted. It will fall back into place, and this will make a difference in the types of elevation you choose to utilize when performing a haircut. Haircuts are created by elevating, lifting, holding, or projecting the hair at any angle, up and away from its natural fall position, or above 0 degrees, up to 180 degrees. How far we lift the hair out of its natural fall position is measured in degrees of elevation. Think of it like an elevator taking you from the ground floor at 0 degrees, all the way up to the 180th floor. Elevation is used to create graduation or layers in a hair design. Although there are only 4 basic haircuts that are taught, you must understand that all haircuts are derived simply by changing the elevation of these 4 basic cuts, to create something new and exciting. The 4 basic cuts are referred to as the 0, 45, 90, and 180-degree haircuts. Can you perform a 120-degree haircut? Of course you can. You only need to understand how to elevate the hair to a 120-degree angle. 0-degree elevation is also known as natural fall position. This is the ground floor, as we step into the elevator. Notice how all the ends of her hair fall to a single hanging level, and are cut straight across. This hanging level makes the hair appear thick and full on the ends. This thickness is called a weight line. The 45-degree elevation has taken the ends of the hair up the elevator a few levels. The ends of the hair, although still somewhat close together, are gradually appearing further apart. There is still a lot of weight in the hair ends, but not as much as with the 0-degree. Using the photo of the protractor, can you visualize what it would look like if you were to pull her hair up to a 45-degree elevation? A haircut that uses any elevation below 90 degrees adds weight to the design. The more weight you want to add to a design, the lower you should elevate the hair. Generally, for haircuts with a lot of weight, you would use an elevation of 45 degrees, or less. A 90-degree elevation looks very much like the crazy man pictured here. No. Not me. The man to my right. A 90-degree elevation is literally elevating the hair straight out from the scalp where it grows. In a 90-degree elevation, the hair should be lifted to become perpendicular to the scalp. We made it to the presidential suite. The 180th floor. The 180-degree elevation looks like a flat-top haircut. The hair is directed straight up. After the hair is cut at 180-degree elevation, and is allowed to relax back into its natural fall position, it creates a long layered haircut, with a V-shaped perimeter. Haircuts above 90 degrees remove weight. The ends of the hair start to appear really far apart depending upon the degree of elevation used. The higher the elevation, the further apart the hair ends appear. The lower the elevation, the closer the hair ends appear.